All right, welcome back to WMMA Now with your host Chuck Stevenson, and welcome to episode number 60 of the WMMA Report, mostly weekly show where we go over everything to do with the women's divisions of mixed martial arts, whether it's the news, fight results, upcoming fights, you name it, we're covering it. All right, without any wasting any more time, let's get down into the fight results. So first up, we're going to UFC 246 this past Saturday. Featured one ladies fight in the strawweight division. Carla Cookie Monster Esparza defeated Michelle Watterson via split decision. I believe it was a split. Yes, split decision. Esparza improved to 16-6. Watterson fell to 17-8. Not the most entertaining fight around. I thought both fighters could have done a lot more. Esparza did her best action when she would get in close, but then she would go right back out to range. And then Watterson seemed to be espousing a stick and move strategy where she would she would move a lot, but there wasn't so much stick to her movement. You know, just a fairly disappointing fight for me all around to watch. Other fight this week happened just last night. UFC Fight Night Jacksonville. Bantamweight division. Sijara Eubanks defeated Sarah Morris via unanimous decision. This is another fight. It was not a very good fight, but for totally different reasons. Whereas Watterson and Esparza was kind of low action, but higher level skill. This fight was a lot more action, but a lot lower level skill. Sijara Eubanks just has to rely more on skill now that she's back up at bantamweight, and it just shows that she doesn't have that much. Whereas Morris just, I don't know, she seemed to go full potato in the second and third round. I mean, just made dumb mistakes that, you know, gave up the rounds, in my opinion. Just not a very good fight, but for different reasons. All right, so that was it for this past week. So let's go into the news. There's only one item in the news for this week. Korean promotion Road FC and live streaming site Africa TV, that's AFREECA TV, have formed a partnership to start a new show. It's going to be called ARC, Africa Road Championship. First show is scheduled for 23rd May in I believe they called it the Africa Coliseum. I think it's going to be a TV studio. It's going to feature one ladies fight, a strawweight bout between Eunjun Lee, who is coming in 0-1, taking on Hyunju Baek, who is 0-4. So far from a high-level fight, but I have seen both these two fight in the past. They both bring the action, so it should be a fun fight just for the action, if not for the high level. All right, really, that's it for the news this week, unfortunately. Not a whole lot has happened since Friday, doing a show a day earlier this week. Hopefully, we'll go back to Wednesdays eventually. Usually, this is when I pick up the rankings updates. UFC just updated the rankings Tuesday, but there's no change to the ladies' rankings. One Championship also, no update to their new rankings since the last episode. They haven't had an event yet. However, I did find out that it was indeed Ayaka Miura that should be at number 4 and not the other Japanese fighter named Ayaka. That's for the rankings at 125 pounds I mentioned last week. So, now we'll move into the segment I like to call Welcome to the Scene, where we welcome the newest public subscribers to the channel. So welcome Kenta Thuisen, Julia Mers, or maybe it's Mrs., Download Dex, and Hannah Jesusa Hojosa. I hope I pronounced that right. All of you, welcome to the scene. So, keeping this show very short, we'll move on into the upcoming events. There's only one event scheduled for this weekend, UFC Fight Night Overeem versus Harris. I think they're also calling this one Fight Night Jacksonville or UFC Florida, whatever. There's two ladies fights on this one. First up, in the flyweight division, Courtney Casey coming in 8-7, taking on Mara Romero Barella coming in 12-7. Casey's debut in the flyweight division. Let's see. Casey's coming in off a loss to Cynthia Calvillo a year ago, preceded by a win over Angela Hill via split decision. Romero Barella coming in off of 2 straight losses to Lauren Murphy and then Montana De La Rosa, respectively. They are the same age, 33 years old. Casey is 1 inch taller, 5 feet 7 inches, 170 centimeters, to Barella's 5 feet 6 inches, 168 centimeters. However, Barella has a slight reach advantage, 69 inches, 175 centimeters, to Casey's 67 inches, 170 centimeters. This is a battle of 2 fighters who find ways to lose, I guess is how I'll put it. Courtney Casey has a bad habit of making really dumb mistakes and not playing to her strengths. Barella came into the UFC kind of strong with that win over, I want to say, Kalindra Fahia. Lost to Chukagian, then beat Taylor Santos, but then, man, took 2 hard losses to Lauren Murphy. She got TKO'd, and then that decision to De La Rosa. This is a hard one to pick. I think I'm going with Courtney Casey on this one. She's more consistent than Barella has been in the UFC, and she's more consistent against a UFC caliber of opponent. Granted, she is going up to flyweight for the first time, but she was always a big strawweight, so I don't think that'll play a huge factor into this one. So we're going with Courtney Casey on that one. Then in the co-main event at strawweight, Claudia Godelia versus Angela Hill. Godelia coming in 17-4, Hill coming in 12-7. Godelia coming in off a win over Randa Marcos, preceded by a loss to Nina Ansaroff. Hill coming in off a win, coming in off of 3 straight wins over Ariana Conrolosi, Hannah Cyphers, and then Loma Lukbunmi, respectively. Hill is the older fighter, 34 years, to Claudinia's 31. Godelia, slightly taller, 5 feet 4 inches, 163 centimeters, to Hill's 5 feet 3 inches, 160 centimeters tall. Hill has slight reach advantage, 64.5 inches, 164 centimeters, to Godelia's 63.5 inches, 161 centimeters. So I did a full preview on this one. If you want to go check that video out afterwards, you can. Just released it a couple days ago. I decided to go with Godelia on this. I think that even though she hasn't been showing the strengths and consistency that she used to show, she is still fighting and doing very well against a higher tier of competition than Hill has. Hill's on that win streak, but it's against unranked opponents, whereas Godelia really has only ever fought higher ranked opponents. It really comes down to, can Godelia get Hill to the ground? I believe she can. Can Hill keep her off of her? I don't think she can. Can Hill drag it out into the later rounds and, keep her volume high enough? Sure, but I'm going with Claudia Godelia on this one. Okay, so that's it for the fights coming up this weekend. Only 2 fights. Tonight I want to talk a little bit about Bellator and a possible move to Showtime. So recently Viacom decided to put Bellator under Stephen Espinoza of Showtime Sports, the head of sports over there for Showtime. Technically they're still on Paramount and DAZN. DAZN, the contract I think is at least for another year, maybe 2. That's where they're getting their primary revenue from. But right now, Espinoza is possibly talking about taking Bellator over to Showtime. They're also talking about doing crossover events between boxing and kickboxing. Here's an article here from Boxing Scene. quote from Espinoza, crossover events are certainly one of the ideas Scott and I have kicked around and brainstormed, and pairing them together programming-wise on the same night and start blending those audiences together with a hybrid event at some point, Espinoza told BoxingScene.com in an interview. Quote, whether it's fighter versus fighter or an event where you do both styles in the same night, the door is open and those conversations are happening. It hasn't been determined, but I do think it will happen at some point, said Coker. There will be boxing guys going into MMA and MMA guys going into boxing. That's something Stephen and I have talked about. We had a lot of momentum with Strikeforce. It marked the end of an opportunity. We're going to have Bellator back. Viacom CBS is absolutely committed to it and wants to grow it. They see the potential. With the merger, it made sense for me to have oversight of it simply because we can unite the two combat sports businesses into the portfolio as well as my relationship with Scott. He's an important part. We have a lot of plans. Obviously, coronavirus interrupted a lot of them. We're anxious to get back in business. Espinoza said the plan is to eventually have Bellator broadcast on his premium cable network after the promotion's distribution deals expire with DAZN and Paramount Network. And then Espinoza talks about, the deal with DAZN still ongoing currently. Okay, I think this is just a stupid idea, personally. I mean, people are free to feel however they want. This is my opinion. I think it's a stupid idea all around. Okay, first of all, boxing and MMA just traditionally don't mix. For the most part, the fan bases are very different. And then also, get on with that. Most boxing fans I know aren't into MMA. Most MMA fans I know aren't into boxing. Granted, the casual fan base might feel totally different. But I know from like the more hardcore standpoint, most of them don't appreciate the other sport for some reason. I like both. I don't follow boxing all that much, but I can certainly, turn it on and watch it and enjoy a good boxing match. But from the fight standpoint, it's like, first of all, okay, boxers suck at MMA. MMA fighters suck at boxing. Okay, those two just don't mix. From the ladies' standpoint, Heather Hardy crashed and burned in MMA. Who's the other girl? Ava Knight just got beat by someone that she was not supposed to lose to in her last fight. That's two ladies that Bellator has over from boxing that have mixed results so far in MMA. As far as MMA fighters go over into boxing, that's even rarer. I'm having a hard time thinking of too many female MMA fighters that have gone over to boxing. But on the men's side, it's like, no. Fabio Maldonado has had mixed success, but he's not beaten any good guys. It's just, to me, it just seems a waste of time. Moving on into the Showtime and Bellator going over to Showtime. Okay, look, I understand. They're owned by the same media corporation, Viacom. That doesn't mean that Bellator should be moving on to Showtime. Premium networks are going the way of the dinosaur, okay? More and more people are cutting cords. More and more people that are keeping cable are cutting the premium networks because they're just not worth the price. They're like minimum $10 a month each on top of what you're already paying for cable or satellite or whatever. And frankly, other than the original series, the programming sucks. You're watching movies that have already been on Netflix for months, already been on Hulu for months, already been on Amazon for months, or have already been out on DVD already. Okay? The days of premium channels having good quality movies and stuff, which was what their original intent was, that's over. That's gone. That's in the past. Premium channels, there's no point in even, other than a few good original series, like every channel has like one really good series. Other than that, there's really nothing going on with premium channels. Moving Bellator to a premium channel, I think is going to be a huge mistake. Some people said that DAZN was a huge mistake. That one's still up in the air. The deal's not done, but right now, the DAZN deal is what is making Bellator money. Bellator is turning a profit for the first time ever because of that DAZN deal. That's the future. Streaming is the future. Does Showtime have an app and a streaming app? Yeah, sure. But then you got to subscribe to it if you want to use it, and you don't have them as part of your service already, you have to subscribe to it. Then you got to pay for it. That's another one. It's just a never-ending deal with having to pay money for it. I think it's a stupid idea. I think it is a step in the wrong direction. It's like taking a step back instead of a step into the future. I'd almost rather them say, well, we're going to go to CBS Sports, which is practically a dead channel anyway, and then we're going to go on to CBS as well. Personally, I think if they could get a few live events a year on CBS, like Showtime did, I think that'd be huge for Bellator. Yes, networks are a thing of the past too, but guess what? You don't have to pay for them. You can put an antenna on your TV and get those for free at least. So even if you can cut the cord completely, you can still get network TV. That's just my opinion. Anyway, that's what I think about this whole Bellator falling under Showtime Sports and Stephen Espinoza thing. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Of course, likes are always appreciated. Hey, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMMA Scene Now, the most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.